Alright, so we're going to upgrade the 500 gigabyte hard drive to a 1 terabyte SSD today. I mentioned wanting to do this for two reasons. One, obviously 500 gigabytes isn't a lot. That fills up pretty fast, and every time you want to play a new game you got to uninstall something else. And obviously solid state drive is going to speed it up a little bit too, so it's kind of win-win. Few things we're going to need. We got an external hard drive. This is to back up all the game saves, all the games that are installed, all the game saves and all the settings from the PS4, from its internal hard drive now to this. And then we've got a USB stick to install the software or firmware installer onto. Once we put a new SSD in, we have to install the PlayStation 4 interface software onto it, and then we can restore this backup back to the SSD. And we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, just a random game to do a test on for loading speeds. Loading speeds aren't going to be quite as fast as if you're familiar with going from like an SSD to, from a hard drive to an SSD on a PC. You might see 3, even 4 times faster load speeds in games, depending on the game. Typically with the PS4 you won't see that kind of an improvement. Obviously game loading times is more than just the speed of the drive that it has to load off of. The CPU is decompressing files, the GPU is loading in textures. There's a lot of other things going on when you're loading a game that make up that loading time. But it'll be probably between 30 to 50% faster depending on the game. I would say in most games though, expect like a 30 to 40% improvement in speed. Don't expect it to be double the speed or faster. In most games it will not be. So we're going to use Final Fantasy VII Remake as a quick benchmark. This is with the 500 gigabyte hard drive. We're just going to load up a save game, and we're going to load the same game obviously when we try this with an SSD. So 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, so that took 39 seconds to load to this spot. So once we got the SSD swapped in there, we'll load the same saved game, and we'll see how much quicker it is. Alright, so before we swap an SSD in this thing, we need to back up all the applications, all the games, all the saves, all the settings to this hard drive, and then we can put the SSD in and then restore this. So what I had to do is plug this in, and it was a little confusing because it wanted to format it as an extended. Let me show you. So go into devices, USB storage devices, external USB drive. It wants to format it, by default it wants to format it as extended storage, which it thinks you're going to just start installing games on that and playing games off of that. I don't want to ever do that. We're just doing this to temporarily back up everything to. So instead I went into options, hit the options button, and format as exFAT. I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again. It took a second. And then we can go into, where the heck was it? System, and backup and restore, backup PS4. So this is all the applications, save data, captures, themes, and settings is going to go to this 1 terabyte external hard drive. Okay, it says it's going to restart. So there we go, it's reset, doing a backup. There's 374.4 gigabytes to copy, so it says it's going to take 103 minutes. So while the PlayStation's copying all that to that terabyte hard drive, we can make a USB stick to boot the operating system onto the new drive. Once we put the new 500 gigabyte SSD drive in the PlayStation 4, that drive obviously isn't going to have the PlayStation 4's operating system on it. So we need to go to the PlayStation website and download the PlayStation 4 update file. It's going to give you a .pup file. And then we just need a USB stick. Format it FAT32. Make a folder on it called PS4 and a folder in that called Update. And put your PS4 update.pup file in there. So now that we have the firmware or the software installer on the USB stick, we have everything backed up on the hard drive. We can actually take the 500 gigabyte hard drive out of the PlayStation 4 and put in the 1 terabyte SSD. I've mentioned the WD Blue series before, one of my favorite SSDs, especially for the price, especially when they're on sale, which is most of the time. These are almost always on sale, $129 Canadian, something like that. WD owns SanDisk. These are very well made SSDs. They got a 5-year warranty. The speeds on them literally this close to a Samsung 860 EVO. The Samsung drives are really nice. Obviously, if this isn't on sale and the Samsung is on sale, they can get close in price. But typically, the Samsung is a good $50 or $60 more than these are, at least here in Canada. Another issue with the Samsung drives in Canada, they don't have a warranty depot in Canada, so you've got to ship them to the States. Actually, you ship it to Quebec, and then Quebec ships it to the States, and then it gets shipped back to you from the States. And you can get dinged with like duty, and the shipping costs are going to be more, and it takes longer to get the drive back. So here in Canada, the Western Digitals are a little bit better for the warranty. Again, they're both 5 years. It's just a little bit easier to deal with, Western Digital in Canada. And again, the drive is basically the same speed. The IOPS might be slightly slower. On paper, it's 560 read, 530 write. It's basically the same speed as a Samsung 860 EVO. Good. So PlayStation 4, back left corner. It's a little panel here that literally just slides off. Got a Phillips screw in the side of the hard drive holding it in. So just one screw there. You got a pull tab on the hard drive. And that is your 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. It's got a little metal bracket on it. That's going to have to come off. 4 screws in the side. That's all going to get transferred over to the SSD drive. So basically you're just going to make sure this goes in the same way. Get the drive up with the connectors on the end here. And we got to line those screws up. This drive's a little bit thinner than the hard drive, so it's a little harder to line the screws up. Alrighty, set the hard drive somewhere for safekeeping. For if anyone's curious, it looks like it's a Toshiba drive. As far as I know, there's only 3 companies left making hard drives. It's Western Digital, Seagate, and Toshiba. Western Digital bought Hitachi. Seagate owns Lacey. I mean, between those 3 companies, they basically own all the other hard drive companies. So I guess Toshiba would be a Japanese company, and that's why Sony uses them. Western Digital and Seagate are both American brands. That should just slide back in there. And again, there was a screw it's in the back of the PlayStation, but that's going into the side of the drive caddy to hold it in. Pop the panel back on, and we're done. As far as the physical installation goes, pretty easy. Now we just have to install the PlayStation 4 software onto that SSD drive. Alright, so with the SSD installed, we want to hardwire a DualShock 4 controller. We want the USB stick with the PlayStation 4 software on it in there. We're going to hold the power button down. It beeps once when it turns on. Keep holding it until it beeps again. There we go. This is going to load the PlayStation 4 up into like a safe mode, and a menu should come up on the screen. So it says connect the DualShock 4 controller using a USB cable. Already done. Press the PlayStation button. Alrighty. It's basically in safe mode. Your controllers wouldn't be paired with the wireless like they usually are. Oh wow, the only option we have is to initialize PS4, reinstall system software. So obviously it knows that's missing. I can't even change the option there. Connect USB storage that contains the update file, version 8.0 or later. That's already on the USB stick. Alright, so we'll let it do its thing here. It might take a little while. Again, it's a 1 GB file, and it's basically reinstalling the whole OS. So it might take at least a few minutes, probably more. So we'll come back when it's done. Alright, so it just reset. It was actually pretty quick. It took about 6 minutes. As soon as it reset, after that, it basically went through the initial setup like it was the first time we bought the PlayStation. So it asks your Wi-Fi password, makes you pair the controller, all that stuff. So yeah, we're right back in here. I'm just going to go into storage and make sure it's a terabyte. It should be, and it is. We got 861 gigabytes after it's formatted. And then we are going to turn on my external hard drive. And we should be able to, where was that? That was under settings, or system, I mean. So under system, we're going to go back to backup and restore. And we're going to restore. It sees the 374.5 gigabytes on that external hard drive. And we're going to restore. This will take a while. It did to do the backup. It might be a little bit quicker reading off the hard drive and writing onto an SSD. So it should be a little bit faster than it was the first time. But when that's done, it should be it. And we'll give Final Fantasy VII a quick test, and it should be done. Alright, it's done. And yeah, basically all the games are on there that were on there before. And for storage space, we now have 486, basically got almost 500 gigabytes free, which is expected. The drive was almost full with the 500 gigabyte hard drive in there. So get my stopwatch ready. I didn't time this, like from the PlayStation menu to getting into the game menu. I didn't bother timing that. We just timed loading a saved game. I think it was 40 seconds. Was it 40 seconds? I have to double check the video. But it was this game that we loaded. So I'll make sure I got this. 3, 2, 1, go. "24 seconds. Hopefully you can see that. "24 seconds. So that's not too bad, actually. We went from 40 seconds to 24 seconds. That's actually a little bit faster than I was expecting, but again, it's going to depend on the game. Some games, the difference will be greater than others. That was almost twice as fast. So that's pretty nice. But again, it was more about the storage. I can now install and play some games I haven't been able to play yet, like Gran Turismo, because I've never had the free space on here. Definitely worth doing, I think. You know, if you're not buying a PS5 right away, I mean, have fun even getting one if you want one. But if you're still going to stick with your PS4 for a little while, maybe it's worth doing, especially if it has a 500 gigabyte hard drive in it.